Hey friends, just a heads up. In this show, we touch on mental health and some other heavier topics. Nothing too intense, but we want you to take care of yourself and those who may be listening with you. Also, all opinions are our own and not affiliated with 21 Pilots in any way. Listen with care, and thanks for being here.
Putting on a podcast.
Putting on a bonus episode.
Woohoo!
Hey, happy Sunday, everybody. Sunday.
Hello, Sunday,
Weird.
bloody Sunday.
Sunday. Do you remember those commercials when they were like
Yeah, I do.
advertising monster trucks or something? Like
Yeah.
Sunday.
All right. Well, as promised, we have a bonus episode for you
We sure
because
do.
we fell down at 80 rabbit holes.
So many holes.
That we just couldn't put it all in an episode or even several episodes. We needed it to have its own very own episode.
Which led to maybe other full episodes. Potentially,
episodes.
because there's
this is
so many
much.
holes.
Yeah.
So many rabbit holes.
So many rabbit holes. But we wanted to present our theory to you because Mr. Clickbait had an epiphany, last week?
Yeah, before we recorded
the
regular episode.
The other one. And it's just too good. We need to share it with you because it's so good. So
we can't gatekeep this any longer.
No. So congratulations. You get a bonus episode. You get to hear us again.
Oh, I thought you were congratulating me because I had an epiphany.
Our listeners, because,
Yeah, congratulations, guys, or condolences,
or condolences.
whatever.
Sure.
However you choose to look at it.
Are we just going to get right in or what?
Yeah, we have to get right into it because this is
It's long, I think.
action-packed and we need to unpack the action.
Yes, we do.
For you.
All right. So I need everybody that's listening to just make a promise to me right now. Are you ready to make a promise?
Right hands up,
have
everybody.
Your hands up.
I promise.
Please don't write us off in the first 5 minutes because I know where this is about to go and he knows where it's about to go. But I think you're going to strap yourself in for a wild ride here. And I think some of you are going to think we've officially lost it.
Yeah, but just before we get started, I'll tell you where we're going to go. We are going to go on the deepest of all deep dives. Like we have our scuba gear on. We're so deep.
We are.
We are so deep.
We are so deep that I have been doing nothing but this all day today.
Yeah, we're not splashing and just coming up for air. We are breathing under the water.
All right.
So deep.
Well, after hearing you say that, maybe we really have lost our minds.
Maybe.
All
But that's okay.
But I want everybody out there to hear us out because I think that we might have accidentally stumbled onto something that will completely change the way that you're going to look at things.
Yes. Or maybe it'll validate some of you who have been thinking this and have been afraid to say it.
Maybe.
We're saying it for you.
We're going to say it for you. We're going to be your voice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the funny part is that it didn't start with a song or a lyric, and it didn't even start with a music video. Well, I mean, it kind of did start with a music video, I guess, because that's the first place that we saw it, but it started with a rope.
Yes. A rope?
A rope.
Okay.
Well, I guess it's a cord, right?
Yeah. We're not sure what it is, honestly, but we think we know.
Tiny little braided paracord hanging from Tyler's belt loop.
It's a cord.
Yep. And that's where all of these holes started, where we fell.
Yes.
So if you are newer to the lore side of 21 Pilots, you're probably wondering why in the world we're about to spend like an hour talking about a piece of paracord.
Yeah. Do you even know what paracord is?
Me specifically, or the people in listening land? I hope they do.
Do you?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I know what paracord is.
Yeah.
We talked about it. Remember, it was.
Oh, yeah, we did.
It's actually a theory out there because paracord is used for parachutes.
Yeah. That's right.
And
I remember that episode.
Parachute and air catcher.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If you don't remember that episode, listen to the air catcher episode that we covered.
Did we? But I don't think we talked about paracord.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know.
All right. Well, anyway, it's a fair question if you're wondering why we're going to talk about this. But if you've been around this band long enough, you already know how this works. So nothing gets added to Tyler's costumes by accident, especially during a lore era. We've watched this happen for years. We've even done episodes about it. Go back and listen if you want to. We've got lots of them. The red beanie wasn't just a beanie. We got the black paint. We got the yellow tape. We have the stole, the shirts with the weird pictures. Everything eventually becomes part of the story, sometimes even years or, way later.
Yeah.
So when Tyler introduces something completely new, my first question isn't what is that? It's why now?
Mm-hmm.
Why was this not part of Clancy's costume the entire time?
Right.
Why now?
Right.
Because timing is everything, as we know. So let's talk about the cord for a second. If you haven't seen it, it's what we on the pod have affectionately named
The Clancy cord.
I think other people call it that too, but I don't know.
I don't know.
That's what we call it.
I said it. You heard it here first.
It's a braided black, white, and red paracord that's clipped to Tyler's belt loop in the contract and during the Breach tour era. At the end of the cord, there's like black electrical tape on it, and then tied onto it is like a loose red shoelace. And I say shoelace because if you look at it, you actually can see the little, whatever those things are called, little eyelet.
Oh yeah, what are those? Those have
they
a
have
name.
a name. I don't know what it is.
I can't remember.
But anyway, it's really specific, but also it looks like it's unfinished. Like it looks like it's a piece of something. Like not, I don't know how to explain it. Like it's not a complete bracelet. It's not a, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It looks kind of unfinished.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But here's what's interesting. Tyler didn't suddenly start wearing this with everything. Like I said, it didn't start with Clancy. In fact, he's been really specific and selective about when he wears it.
Yes.
As far as we've seen, it first appears during the contract. Then he keeps wearing it through the entire Breach tour, every night. And then he wears it again for their performance of Seven Nation Army at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And that's, I think, what threw us all for a loop because we're like, what? Why is he wearing that?
Yeah. Is this just part of his Tyler uniform at this point?
Right. So you might be sitting there thinking, okay, so he's wearing the same costume. It's not a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Except he isn't. Because Tyler changes pieces of his outfits all the time. We've been seeing this in the festivals. He swaps jackets. He changes t-shirts. He experiments with different looks. That half shirt thing we had going on in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Like, what was that? I don't know what that was.
The whole beginning of the Breach tour were weird shirts.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if something sticks around consistently, especially during one specific chapter of the lore, I start paying attention because consistency usually means it's intentional.
Mm-hmm. And intentions mean everything.
Intentions mean everything. Or nothing.
Or nothing.
Who knows? All right. So that's where this whole theory kind of begins. Not with the cord itself, but the question that it creates for us. Why introduce a completely new object right before what appears to be the final chapter of this story?
So we were told anyway.
Right?
Yeah.
Because if this thing's purely decorative, wouldn't we have seen it years ago? Why now?
Probably.
Why the contract? Why Breach? Why the Rock Hall performance?
Yeah.
Why
That's
does it
the one
seem,
that really throws me. Still.
Right? And why does it seem specifically attached to Clancy's battle identity?
Yeah, his battle. What do they call it? Battle uniform. Battle. His rebel clothes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
These are all the questions we're going to answer during this very special bonus episode.
Mm-hmm.
So hang on, it's going to be a bumpy ride because I wrote things all over the place. So hopefully this makes sense. So I really looked at the cord while I was researching this episode. Like I found all kinds of pictures on Google just to try to find like every angle I could of this thing because you actually really can't get a really clear picture of it. It's actually really hard to see in its entirety.
Yeah, I think the best view we get is on the album cover, maybe, for a still shot.
Yeah, but it's like super tiny. So it's like really hard to see the details and everything on it.
Yeah.
But the more that I looked at it, it stopped looking like just like a cool accessory and it kind of seemed like equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, I get it.
And this is the part where everyone's going to start yelling at us because it's just a robe. And then all the kids say, touch grass.
What does that mean?
It means like go outside, like
touch grass.
Do something else.
Yeah, touch this.
Right? I totally hear you. Believe me, because when we first started this, I was like, it's just a cool little rope thingy.
I know. I remember telling you my epiphonic theory in the car, and you were like,
Well, I wasn't sure.
Then I'm like, hear me out.
But
hear me out.
I heard you out.
Yeah,
I gave you a chance.
You got there.
All right. So if you look at it objectively, it's a braided paracord. It's clipped to a belt loop, right? It has electrical tape wrapped around the end. There's a loose red shoelace attached to it. You ask yourself, like, what fashion trend is this going to belong to? Because I've never seen this.
Yeah.
It really doesn't look like jewelry. It kind of resembles a keychain, but like, does Clancy have a car? Like, why do we have keys? Does he have a wallet? Like, why are we clipping it? Like, what is this?
Yeah, his
Right?
car caught on fire, so he doesn't need keys anymore.
And he doesn't even drive it. So
Fair. Yeah.
it's probably not a keychain.
I mean, he does need a wallet because, like, I'm sure there's a lot of Chachi's in Dima and gift shops, and you might need to go buy some more Dima toilet paper or something.
Sure.
So
this is true.
he's got, and you always carry an ID with you.
Sure.
So it could be a wallet cord.
Does he have an ID?
I don't know.
Interesting.
Maybe.
All right. Well, our episode's done then. You just blew a hole in my whole theory. Was that it's not
a braided paracord.
it's not an
wallet
accessory.
chain. Yeah.
You just ruined my whole.
All right. Well, episode's over. Thanks, guys, for coming. I'll see you next time.
It's a wallet chain. The end.
The end.
No, I'm kidding. It's not. All right. So again, even though you probably need identification, it doesn't feel like a fun accessory. It looks like something designed to connect to something else. And this is where our very own Mr. CB comes into play with his brilliant mind, because he noticed something else. Actually, there was several something else's that kind of made this all come together.
Yeah. So Breach has been out for going on a year, correct? In October, I think it's, or no, not
It's
October.
September. No. Yes, September.
Yeah,
12th, right? September 12th.
No.
I thought it was September 12th.
I don't remember. It's coming up on a year. Ever since I saw this cord, I wondered what the heck it was. I had no idea. What?
It definitely was, because remember those stupid jokes about the pilots in September 11th?
Oh, yeah.
So it
September
definitely
12th.
was.
Yeah. Anyway, I've been wondering what this cord is. I have like a paracord keychain, and I'm like, oh, it kind of looks like paracord. It kind of looks like leather at first, like braided leather. People in the clique started making like keychain versions and whatever. They're all out there. Those are like, you can kind of get a better sense of what it might be if you get that smaller version of it. People were making them for the shows, for their cosplay,
Right.
whatever you want to call it. They start showing up everywhere, and I'm like, what is this cord? Quickly, people tied it to a leash. You see what I did there? Tied it to.
I like that.
And, death inspires me like a dog inspires a rabbit. The dog imagery that we see, all that, they're like, oh, it's the leash for the dog. You said something else about a leash. I think that it's like,
The Saint and News said is a leash.
yeah, all those
And I
things.
have news for you. So everyone, the main consensus is that this is a broken leash.
Yeah.
And it's his way of telling the bishops, you no longer can control me, that I don't obey you anymore. And then the shoelace they're saying is from the lyric, a shoe with no lace.
Right.
Benefit from a shoe with no lace.
Right. So.
Which I've never been on board with either of those theories.
Correct. Same. So fast forward to last week sometime, maybe 2 weeks ago, as you hear this, I don't even know. We're driving in the car, and I recall a story that someone I work with just told me. And because I always think about 21 Pilots, not for me, but for you to be a good podcaster and make sure we have all the knowledge.
The official story.
I was thinking, and he rides a motorcycle occasionally. It's a Harley Davidson, and he has this, what he called a whip. I never knew what it was.
Right.
But it's hanging from like the brake lever. And I'm like, what is that thing and why? Never asked him about it. Just wondered what it was. His was leather, but it was braided. And I want to say it was the same color scheme. That's just a coincidence. But cool. Anyway, it was hanging from his thing. He tells me the other day that, I used to park over here, but someone stole it. And he said, someone stole the whip off my bike. And I'm like, oh, that was a whip. And this light bulb just exploded in my brain. And I remember coming to you and I'm like, what if it's a whip? But that doesn't make sense because, like, what are we whipping?
Right.
And Clancy's weapon has been antlers, not whips or chains or anything like that. So I'm like, it's probably not a whip, but it looks similar. And for some reason, it popped in my head like a falconer's tether.
Yes.
And I said, what if it's a tether for like a bird? And I'm like, hear me out. I don't know if vultures need tethers. I don't know if all birds of prey need tethers. He's not a falconer. This isn't about falconry. But what if this is some sort of tether? And the rabbit hole just opened. And we went down it. And we have decided, convinced through research that that's probably what this is.
Right.
Whether it's tethering a bird, whether it's some kind of imagery or metaphor for tethering life or something else.
Mm-hmm. It's a tether of some sort.
It is a tether. which also can be referred to as a leash. So some of you were right, but it's not a leash for like an animal or a dog. This is a tether, meaning something else. And I, Mr. Clickbait, think it's to tether good old Clifford, the old vulture, who's going to pull us out of Dima.
Agreed. So that is the main theory that we wanted to, no, not Siri. I said theory. Sorry. My phone.
Yeah, real quick before you go on, like,
okay.
I think that like I think either he is the keeper of Clifford and that's why he has the tether.
That's new. You didn't share that.
Or this tether means something else. And I think you did some research that could tell us how the tether could mean something else.
Right. I think we'll probably have to do that in a whole other thing.
That's a whole other
We'll
rabbit
get to
hole.
that at the end.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I was trying to say was that's what this episode is built around. This theory that this Clancy cord actually does have something to do with how we are getting out of this place. Because our main theory here on the podcast is that we are not finished with the lore. Again, if you're new here, just hearing this because you did a cool search and this came up. I love the end that we got. I think it's great. I'm not unhappy with it, but there's too many clues telling us that it's not over yet.
Right.
So I'm not trying to make this fit. This is our belief and what we think. You can obviously laugh at us if you want to.
Yeah.
Or you can get on the crazy bus with us. So I want to take a pause. Back up. Yes. So that's what this episode's about. The theory of the cord and what it could mean for the lore. And we're going to kind of take you through the parts of the story that we feel connect this cord to everything. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So that's what this episode's going to be about. Mm-hmm. So if you decide that's not for you, then see you later. See you next Thursday for the regular episode.
Thanks for coming.
If you are ready to fall down this hole with us, come along. It's going to be great.
Jump on in, man. But if you go 17 minutes and counting, thanks for spending 17 minutes of your Sunday with us. God bless.
Yes.
Godspeed.
Godspeed.
Have a good day.
All right. So I'm going to take a pause from the cord for a second because I feel like people are probably going, okay, wait, cord, birds. How did you get from cord to birds?
Well, I think I just told you, but yeah.
Right. Because it's kind of a big leap, if you will.
Yes.
But I want to talk about why we have this idea in our head that Clancy is going to be flown out of Dima. Sorry, not Dina, excuse me. Dima. Because there's a lot of birds going on. And have you noticed the new jumpsuit, which we've talked about on our show? But again, if you're new here, let's do a quick little recap. Specifically, the sleeves of our new jumpsuit. They look like feathers, right?
Yes.
We've talked about this a bit on our other episodes, but the festival photos, when they started coming in, everyone was understandably like focused on how totally cool this coat looks because it looks amazing. And we've got like really cool animation from artists with these little things, strips of cloth, right?
It's not just the sleeves, right? Isn't it hanging from because it's a trench coat, essentially.
I can't tell.
In real world land, it's a trench coat, which we've deemed the jumpsuit coat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of thought they were hanging from the lower half and the sleeves of all of it, but maybe not.
I don't know. You could be right. I could be wrong, whatever. But anyway, the point is it's kind of been updated. It's evolved a little bit. I don't know if you've noticed, but it actually looks a little bit more faded, a little more like battle worn, right? Like it looks a little worse for wear, but also super cool. But the longer we looked at it, the more detail kept pulling our attention back. The strips running down the sleeves, at first glance, they look like distressed fabric. But when you start asking, why are they there? Because like I just said, Tyler doesn't add random stuff to his costumes, right? Everything tends to serve a purpose. And even if we don't understand that purpose until much later, it still is important to look at, right? Mm-hmm. So the more we looked, the less they look like random strips of fabric and the more they started to look like feathers. And I actually got that imagery, and I don't know if they meant to do it, but the people that were drawing this, you know how artists, as soon as they see something, they got to go and make a depiction of it, which is awesome because we get some really great art from that. Most of them had his arms out because you want to see the strips, right?
Right.
But it really, the way they had him blowing back, it looked like a bird.
Yeah, it looks like.
I don't know if they meant to make it look like a bird or if they were just trying to show movement in the strips of fabric or what they were trying to do.
Right.
But that's kind of where I got that from. And obviously they're not literal feathers. We know that. They're not saying that Tyler glued wings onto a jacket. I'm saying, as the kids say, it's giving feathers.
Yeah, it's purposeful, like alternative imagery.
Sure.
I guess.
Yes. Then there are these vests. I don't know if you've noticed how many of the newer looks include these weird little vests that are layered over the coat. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
Yep.
Again, pair them with the cord and suddenly things are changing. If you look at them piece by piece, it doesn't seem like anything.
Right.
But when you pair them with other stuff, then you're like, wait a minute. Something's a little off here. You start to kind of connect the dots a little bit. So we got a cord clipped at the waist. We got harness-like vests, feather-like sleeves. None of those things prove anything on their own. But when you put them together, they start to tell a story. And that's when your brain went to the lyric. Do you remember when we were driving and you texted me
Yeah.
and told me you just listened to the song?
Yep.
And the lyric is, my jumpsuit takes me so high,
Yeah.
right? Now, for years, we've interpreted that it actually means like safety, escape, the Banditos, right? Hope. So naturally, takes me so high feels metaphorical, like an emotional high or a spiritual high, right? But what if, like so many Tyler Joseph lyrics, it means more than one thing? What if the metaphor has been quietly sitting next to a literal image this whole entire time?
Yeah.
Not literal in the sense that Clancy suddenly becomes Superman and can fly, right? But literal in the sense that the story itself might actually involve flight, which I don't think is too far-fetched. And you're going to be there with me by the time we're done with this episode.
Yeah. I'm already there with you, but everyone else will be on the old double Dutch bus, if you will.
All right. So I know going from a cord on someone's belt loop and a harness to birds seems like a big leap, like I said. But it really isn't when you think about it, because birds and specifically vultures have been part of the story for a very long time. They're all over Trench. They're in artwork. They're in the lyrics. We hear them in the beginning of songs and in the middle of things, right?
Yeah.
Once we started looking at the possibility of Clancy's ascension, all of these separate pieces suddenly began pointing in the same direction. And then we started digging into vultures, and we found that birds are often tethered by a leash, like we talked about with the falcons, right?
Yep.
And actually, when I started doing this research, there were like little parakeets with like little tiny leashes.
Yeah.
So apparently birds are tethered by leashes quite a lot.
Yeah. You can take them for a walk.
But what we found out is vultures are actually different.
Yes.
You don't want to tether them with a leash, because what you do with a normal bird is you put the leash on their feet like cuffs almost.
They're called anklets. Yes.
Sure, anklets. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah. I've done some tether research.
I love that. But you don't want to do that to a vulture, because the way that vultures cool themselves down is they actually pee on their legs
Correct.
to cool themselves down. So you don't want to put anything on their legs, because that would prevent them from cooling down. So it would not be great. So we did find out that for a vulture, you would not use a traditional leash. You would leash. Why did I say leash? Excuse
Yeah. You wouldn't have a traditional lease either.
me. No, you wouldn't.
Month to month.
Although, I mean,
but-
I guess you could rent your vulture.
Yeah.
But anyway, you would use a harness. So now you see where we hopped on the train here.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we connected the dots.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let you go ahead and do your bird stuff.
Could you turn your mic a little bit like this way?
Sure.
Yeah. Because when you read off to the side, you could echoey.
Oh, sorry.
So that'll help that.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I've done some tether research, and to piggyback on your, well, I'll get to that in a minute, but yeah, let's talk about birds, shall we? We already know that the bird is the word, in case you haven't heard.
Yes.
The bird is indeed the word. But let's get into birds, and raptors to be specific, birds of prey, because not all birds are made the same. We have harmless songbirds, your cardinals and black-capped
Sparrows.
chickadees and all those things that are native to wherever your land is. You have ducks, you have geese, flamingos, harmless birds that are not eating the flesh of other things like hawks, eagles, falcons, and vultures. These are fierce, menacing looking birds. They're kind of scary looking, some of them. And they feed on other living things and dead things. But ultimately, like I said, the flesh versus like nuts and berries, right?
Right.
These are your raptors. These are your birds of prey. And as Mrs. Clickbait just stated, we have vulture imagery all over the music and lore. But why? I always wondered why. We hear things like the surveillance line in The Outside. Is it The Outside?
Right. Yeah.
Or No Chances. I think it's No Chances. Yeah.
I was just thinking of the line. I don't know which song it's.
When they have the There's seas, they're flying over. My house is the one where the vultures are perched on the roof. There's just lots of imagery about birds. We have Isle flightless birds, blah, blah, blah. We go on forever. The goner birds everywhere, like you said.
Birds.
Well, come to find out, there's vultures and eagle imagery as well, depending on what version you read, all over the Bible and in other religions throughout history. But specifically what I'm going to mention is Christianity and Zoroastrianism, which we spoke about a while ago.
Yes.
It's an older religion that is only practiced by a very small sects in the Middle East today.
Right. And go ahead.
I think you were going to just echo what I'm saying here is that you want to say it with me in unison?
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
We mentioned this before in an episode and connected some of the concepts and imagery to Dima and the lore, specifically those funeral thingies. The name's not coming to me.
Oh, right. The Towers of Silence.
Towers of Silence.
But actually, this isn't what I was going to say. I was just going to, again, I have a feeling that people are going to search and find this episode and not realize that we have many, many episodes about this already. Right. So this is the religion that 21 Pilots has drawn a lot of their Dima storyline from. Imagery specifically. So we didn't just like grab a religion that fit. Right. This was specifically something they have mentioned as a inspiration. Thank you.
Yeah. Right, these Towers of Silence look like the drawings of the Sacred Municipality of Dima logo. Exactly. And these were where people of this ancient religion would put their dead in these things and they rise above the ground. Vultures come consume them, their skin and their bones and everything, so they don't pollute the soil by burying them. That's what they believed in. So whatever all that means, I'm not a Zoroastrianist or expert, but I'm just saying the Tower of Silence looks like the Dima logo. Right, sure. So there's something there. During my research and to validate my theory, because I desperately need validation and acceptance because I have mental illness, blah, blah, like the rest of you, and whatever. I found even more connections with vultures to Christianity, which seems more plausible here because we know the boys are religious. And before I go any further, we're not preaching religion to you. If you've just found this episode,
we'll say that a couple
this is not a religious podcast. We know they are. So we're sharing these views of how the music could connect to Christianity. And I think by the end of this, you'll see that what we're trying to do. Okay. Let me get into some screenshots I took real quick. Bear with me 1 second.
Sure.
So last night, trying to go to sleep, I start Googling birds and birds of prey and Christianity and how they connect and Zoroastrianism and all those things. And I found that there is a passage in the Bible from Matthew 24 in which Jesus is warning his disciples and believers and says of the signs of his return. And in verse 27, he states that as the lightning comes from the east and flashes even to the west, so will the coming of the Son of Man be. Then he says, where the corpse is, there the vultures will gather. Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you have thoughts on that verse? Do you know that one?
Nope.
Okay.
Except that it says vultures.
We know that vultures kind of hover around dead carcasses. When you see a vulture, you know there's probably something's dead. Something is dead nearby. Something's not going to be dead because they don't kill living things, but something is dead. And it kind of foreshadows in the Bible the judgment that will accompany Jesus's return.
Sure.
But he's letting them know that, oh, hold on. Sorry. Sorry, I lost my place. 1 second. When he says wherever the corpse is, the vultures, or like I said, eagles will gather, it's an apocalyptic metaphor. Vultures circling a dead body represents God's swift judgment on a spiritually dead society, false prophets, or the doomed city of Jerusalem. So I think if you replace some words in there with words we're familiar with from the lore, you can tie this together. And then I found something about a symbolic tether. While vultures aren't explicitly bound by a physical tether, the imagery binds believers to vigilance, spirituality. Spiritually, a vulture Christian is a metaphor for someone who speaks death and negativity or feeds off the spiritual decay of the world. So have you heard of a Christian vulture before? I have never
heard of that before.
Anyway, this tether is like what you're going to get into, I believe, where there's a philosophical, metaphorical tether connecting things.
Yeah.
So there's that what I found. And then finally, a note about the tethers, which you already got into. Raptors and birds of prey don't just kind of chill out while you're training them.
Right.
Or housing them. They have to be tethered or in a cage or whatever. Vultures are made differently. In fact, if you are going to do the anklet tether, it has to be made of a different like synthetic substance.
Right.
Because
Probably
the urine will
yeah.
ruin whatever, anything other than that. I can't remember the name of it, but like specifically they don't use leather because leather they'll chew and gnaw at and
right.
the urine will ruin it. So based on some Google searches and some other things and another rabbit hole I went down that I won't get in too much here because I think it could be a whole other episode. This is what we were talking about on the phone on the way home.
Yes.
And this one's crazy to me, but I don't think Tyler's becoming a bird.
No.
I didn't see any imagery of shape shifting. And we'll post some of these pictures on our social following this episode. But if you go back and look at the main image of Zoroastrianism, it's like a bird with flailed out or wings
Wingspan.
splayed out. And it's got like this circle. To me, that almost looks like a tambourine.
Oh.
There's nothing on it, but it's just a circle. But as soon as I saw it, I was thinking Tyler with the tambourine in Heavy Dirty Soul, like where he holds it when he plays it live. I could be just completely making things up here. I almost said the S word.
Right.
I could almost be making things up here, but I don't know. But that's what it looked like to me. But still, it's a bird, a vulture. That's their
Right.
image. Okay?
Yes.
And then I start looking at what does it have to do with Christianity and things like that. And I find this picture, which takes me down another rabbit hole of
Which I would love to do like a whole dive on our own on this particular topic.
And
but
we
I'll
will.
let you tease it now.
I will. It took me to, I believe it's the Divine Comedy by Dante. Yes. And one of the
Divine Comedy.
acts is called Purgatorio Canto or something. And this is the art for Purgatorio Canto 9. And I open it immediately and I see these things and there's all these paintings and all these different pictures. We see this bird that they call an eagle, but it looks an awful lot like vulture, especially the one that 21 Pilots has symbolized in
Yes.
their discography. And then you see these other photos where this bird is carrying angels and people away. And then I come to this one that shows someone in a robe with their eyes closed and this eagle / vulture snatching them up and carrying them toward a rising sun, this light in the sky.
Yes.
And that's the black and white version. And it says Dante dreams that he is snatched up by a great eagle. And this was done by Francesco Scaramuzza in 1850. So I scroll down a little bit more and then I see another image in color and the robe is red and the bird is black. And the sun they're going toward is red, which I talked about this on our episode this week a little bit, but in the imagery for One Way, as we're escaping and going up and flying through the tower, one of those images, the sun is red, just like this.
Yes.
So did I
Not only
uncover
that,
something?
but we
I
have
don't know.
decided that based on the movement in the picture of the sun, it is a rising sun.
Correct. So did I uncover something new here? Am I
Yes.
crazy? Am I
No.
nuts? I don't know. But I think there is a very strong connection to what is going to happen and how this story will ultimately end. Because part of the rabbit hole I found, and this is just a teaser because we're going to probably do a whole episode on this, but 3 colors, red, white, and black, a lot of 3s in the 21 Pilots lore and discography. We're seeing 3 imagery now. You have hell, you have purgatory, you have paradise.
Paradisio.
And we have not seen the third one yet. Or could we be
have
in
not.
purgatory now, or purgatorio, as Dante says?
Yes.
Maybe.
Maybe.
So that would leave us to figure out what was hell, which era. I say blurry face.
I see blurry face.
and / trench. And then I think maybe even scaled and icy, because being forced to do something could feel like a
That's
hell.
it. I like that.
I think we're now in purgatory, and I think what is yet to come, whether it's a third album or whatever we see, is Paradisio.
Yes.
So there you have it.
Yeah.
That's the rabbit hole I stumbled upon.
We will tease that at a later time. Or not tease it, but
We'll cover it a later
Cover it
time
a
because
later
there's so
time.
much there. Like I literally was
much.
typing the notes and I'm like, I gotta go. I can't keep doing this. I can't. Otherwise we'll be here all day.
All right. So let's talk about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Let's go on a completely different tangent here. I want to talk about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when 21 Pilots performed Seven Nation Army.
Mm-hmm.
Besides the fact that the masks that they wore look remarkably like the feathers, in air quotes, and the rivets that are on the new jumpsuit, that could just be a coincidence. And this is,
they had some extra material left over.
Right.
Yeah. Who knows?
It could have just been Tyler grabbing his Clancy stuff as a nod to the clique.
Correct. Yeah.
Reminding us that it's still him, right? Even though they're doing a different song. That's totally possible. But we've watched this band for too long to ignore choices like this. So he wears a t-shirt, a white t-shirt with black paint splatters, but literally nothing else 21 Pilots. There's no black hands. His neck's not black. No Clancy mask. So why just the one thing? Why just the cord?
Yeah. And to take it off of Tyler, Josh is wearing no shirt. He's just very, there's nothing that screams them.
Nothing screams besides the masks. Nothing screams
correct.
21 Pilots at all.
Correct.
I mean, it would have been very easy just to wear like the backwards Clancy t-shirt and that wouldn't have meant anything to anyone.
Right.
It would have been totally fine.
Yeah.
But why bring lore imagery into a cover song? What was the purpose of that? And this is very specific lore imagery too. This isn't, I don't know how to explain it. Like this is you got to pay attention to know what this is thing.
Yeah. Listen, I think I know. This just occurred to me. Prior to now, we've been in like, it's on the nose, it's in your face lore imagery. It's pretty easy to figure out. This is next level. This is the advanced course.
Yes.
This is the graduate course. If you're noticing these things, you're nuts like us.
Yes.
And don't start a podcast because we have one, but maybe do something else crazy because you're noticing things that the general fan just overlooks.
Exactly.
Which is cool and weird.
Right. So again, my brain is saying, why bring lore imagery into a cover song unless the song itself matters?
Correct.
So let's actually look at the lyrics for a minute. I'm not going to do piece by piece lyrics because this isn't a White Stripes podcast. But once we did look at the lyrics, they felt really familiar because the song follows somebody who's trying to escape, someone who's overwhelmed by rumors, pressure, and opposition. They want to leave. They even talk about running away to far off Wichita.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
But by the end of the story, they realize something. Running doesn't solve the problem. Eventually, you have to turn around and go home and face what's waiting for you. And I don't know about you, but that sounds an awful lot like Clancy to me.
It does. Yeah.
How many times has he escaped? How many times has he left Dima? And what does he always do? He comes back because he has to, because there are still people inside. And because the story was never just about saving himself, it was always about going back for everybody else.
Right.
So if Seven Nation Army is meant to reflect Clancy's story, then it isn't really about escape at all. It's about accepting your purpose, choosing the battle you know you can't avoid, and then returning to the place that broke you because someone else needs you there.
Now, the missing piece here that I need to know, and I don't know how we'll ever find out, is if they had any say in what was performed. Or if Jack White or the Hall came and said, we want to feature this song. You guys are a music duo.
Like
you play bass, just do it. Because I feel like they could have easily pulled off, be the Friends song with the
Olivia
ukulele.
Rodrigo did that one.
No, I know, but like they could have easily done that on ukulele and it would have been cute and nice and fun.
I'm sure they got some say in which song they did.
As if they did.
I feel like it'd be really
stupid
stupid to do a tribute to the White Stripes and not do Seven Nation Army.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah. I don't know.
All right. So if you've been listening to this podcast for any length of time, the story should sound incredibly familiar to you because it's basically the story of Paladin Street. Clancy finally reaches Nico. He doesn't get the clean victory that everyone expected, right? The battle continues, and then instead of ending, we get Breach. Almost like Tyler is saying, no, the story is not over yet. And if that's true, then maybe City Walls isn't showing us the ending. Maybe it's preparing us for it. City Walls starts the album. It's the first song. You don't start with the end.
Yeah.
That should be our biggest piece of evidence that this isn't over.
Yeah. Tell that to My Chemical Romance. They started the Black Parade with a song called The End, which is not the end.
Okay.
The song at the end is the end.
Okay. All right. Well, hear us out. Stay with us here because this is where everything's going to start coming together. We promise.
Yes.
We're going to outline the theories we've already talked about now and show you how they all kind of fit with what we're saying here. Not just the costumes and the lyrics or the music, but mythology, ancient religions, biblical imagery, even the songs Tyler's chosen to cover recently, because those are also extremely important. It's almost like all of these separate puzzle pieces that don't seem connected at first are all quietly pointing in the exact same direction.
Mm-hmm.
Not toward another escape through the tunnels, but towards
East. Up.
Ascension, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not just escaping Demo, we're going to rise above it. So now I know that's a huge claim and one I've talked about before on the show. So before we get too far ahead of ourselves, we need to answer one very important question. If Clancy's going to rise, how? And that's what we're trying to answer here.
I think that's what we have answered.
We have, because the answer is, and it always has been, vultures.
We did it, you guys.
We did it.
This is it. Listen, well, keep listening, but stop researching. We figured it out.
We figured it out.
This is
did it. We did it for you.
Right,
All
Tyler?
right. Yes, absolutely.
Right, Josh? Yeah. Okay.
All right. So the vultures are the key. And I don't think most of us have been interpreting them correctly, to be honest with you. Before we go any further, I need to remind everybody, ourselves included, of something we've already spent entire episodes talking about, because none of the theories exist in like a small little vacuum. They all exist as like pieces, right? So we've already kind of done all of this. Tyler's actually been laying the groundwork for years. So let's talk about the vultures again for a minute. I know we've already done our deep dive into vulture symbolism, so we're not going to spend another 30 minutes or so about ancient Egypt and Zoroastrianism. Although if you haven't listened to that episode, this is a shameless plug. Please go back and listen to it. It's really good.
It is.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, but here's the important takeaway. The more we research vultures, the more we realize they aren't really symbols of death at all. They're symbols of transformation.
Of renewal.
Yes.
Yes.
They're the ultimate recyclers.
They are.
They take what has fallen and turn it into something that sustains life.
Mm-hmm.
Across different cultures and belief systems, they represent transition, renewal, purification, and moving from one state of being into another. And that sounds an awful lot like Tyler's entire message.
Yeah.
Taking pain and turning it into purpose. That's what he's been doing this entire time. Taking broken things and creating something beautiful out of them.
And though I feed on things that fell.
Yep. And that's what I'm about to say right here.
Yeah.
Great segue.
Thank you.
Because that line right there hits totally different when you think about the vultures.
Mm-hmm.
We've always interpreted that as Tyler taking his own struggles and creating art from them, feeding on the things that have fallen apart in his life and then transforming them into something that helps other people. But lore-wise, it also sounds like Clancy. The Bandinos don't gain strength by avoiding broken people. They gain strength by finding them and helping them out from under Demon's control. So by turning hopelessness into hope. And what does the color yellow represent? Hope.
Does it?
Yes. Hope and positivity.
All right.
And it also mirrors the brightness of the sun. And where's the sun? The sky. Up.
East.
We keep going up.
Yeah.
While we're on the subject of Levitate, we've already talked about how that song has been quietly screaming this theory from the beginning. I did a whole episode on that again.
Mm-hmm.
Please go back and listen to that if you haven't.
Yep.
But think about the language Tyler chooses. He doesn't say, I know how to float. He doesn't say, I know how to hover. He says, I know how to levitate. And then just a few lines later, you can learn how to levitate with just a little help. What if Tyler was also planting the seed for something bigger? What if rising isn't just emotional, it's part of Clancy's story?
Mm-hmm.
Because when we talk about resurrection, we don't say someone floated from the dead. We say they rose from the dead.
Yep.
And throughout the lore, Clancy's journey has always been upward. He went from citizen to bandito, then to leader, and I think, just maybe, something even bigger.
Yes.
And that's what makes this Clancy cord theory so fascinating to me. The cord isn't what convinced us exactly. The vultures didn't convince us. Levitate didn't convince us. Any one of those things on their own could just be symbolism. It's when you start putting all of those pieces together with everything we're seeing in the Breach era that the picture starts to change and make sense. The costumes don't just look cool. They start looking intentional.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's true, then maybe we've been looking at Clancy's ending from the wrong angle this entire time. So at this point, we've got a pretty interesting pattern. And if that's all we had, I'd probably stop there and say, well, that was a fun theory, right?
Yeah.
But then there's the newer music. Not just the 21 Pilots Breach songs. the songs Tyler's been choosing to cover. And that's when this theory started getting really weird. Because whether it's intentional or not, they all seem to be pointing in exactly the same direction. Up.
Mm-hmm.
So, One Way. We're going to talk about that for a second. We're going to start with One Way because we just covered this the last episode. So I'm going to go really quick. I'm not going to do lyric for lyric, just really quick. The first one is I Wanted to Fly. Okay.
There you go.
We've just spent this whole time talking about feathers, harnesses, the Clancy cord, vultures, levitate, and the possibility that Tyler's been hinting at some sort of ascension. And then he opens a brand new song with I Wanted to Fly.
Wait a minute. Is Sugar Ray also Clancy? Because he just wanted to fly? Hi.
Hey, look at that. He should cover that next.
He should.
Totally.
Oh my goodness.
Tyler. Listen. Do it.
Listen.
All right. Obviously wanting to fly can mean a lot of things. It can mean freedom. It can mean escaping. It can mean transcending your circumstances, right? Those are themes Tyler has written about for years. But in the context of everything we've already discussed, it kind of feels more like more than just another metaphor. Then we get the next line. But they say a system's coming in. Now, on the surface, this is weather. And I'm only doing this right now because I thought about this after you covered all of it. I hadn't really thought about it when you were covering it, and now I did. So I want to kind of add my little 2 cents in. But I know it sounds like weather, a storm system, right? But Tyler loves double meanings, as we all know, sometimes triple meanings. And when I hear the word system, I immediately think about Dima. Because Dima isn't just a city, it's a system.
Yeah.
It's a system of fear and control designed to convince people they can't leave. So suddenly this line sounds like someone saying, I wanted freedom, but the system got in the way. Right? Then Tyler repeats, this is a one way. He says it over and over. It's talking about reaching a point where there's no turning back. It's moving in one direction. He can't go back to simply being another citizen of Dima. He can't unknow what he's already learned. He can't stop fighting. He's crossed the line. The line, hello. The song's perfect for right here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Can I just add something real quick?
Sure, yeah.
Before I lose the thought. You mentioned the double and triple meaning. I think that's intentional as well.
For sure.
Because at the end of the day, these guys are musicians. They make their living on making music.
Right.
They would like to sell music. Not all of this can be some deep story with hidden meanings and Christianity and whatever. So sure, it can be weather at the same time as being everything you're saying, because that would just make sense to the, and I'm using quotes here, I'm not trying to offend anyone, the dumb listener who's not participating in the rest of
the
this.
Listener
They just want to hear the music.
Know.
Yeah, they just want to hear the music because it's it's a vibey song.
Which is why that guy's stupid review of like, if you don't know the lore, you don't understand the song.
Yeah.
Is lame and ridiculous. But we're
Sit
not going
on
to get into
pins.
that again. But anyway, like I said, with the line, he says, I'd rather you not be here for what could be my final form, right? It's totally 100% talking to Torchbearer. I don't want you to see me like this. Am I going to disappoint you? Kind of a thing, right? So the line fits perfectly in here too. But whatever happens next, there's only one way forward. So this next lyric, I didn't really think about until you covered it. But Tyler says, why am I still walking? Walking. I feel like that's a really odd choice of words because the entire song's about wanting to fly.
Mm-hmm.
So I really sat and thought about it for a moment, and walking almost feels like you're settling for something, because why would you walk when you can fly?
Right.
So I just thought that was kind of weird. Like something isn't happening that should be happening. Maybe Clancy has spent this entire story walking, escaping, running, navigating, crossing trench, making his way toward Dima. But maybe the ending requires something different. Maybe that's why Tyler keeps pointing us back toward flight. So let's talk about the covers now. All right, I'm going to talk about the covers. We're going to go into Stolen Dance because that's what we covered last week. It's the first one. We already played the song for you in the last episode. But listen to this lyric. I hope they don't get your mind. I don't really think you can get any more Dima than that.
No.
That's Dima.
Yes.
It's literally what the bishops do. They don't just imprison people physically. They manipulate the mind. They convince people that leaving isn't possible. Then it says, your heart is too strong anyway. And that feels exactly like Clancy. I know we said Torchbearer last time, but I feel like it's Clancy. His circumstances change, but his heart never does. His heart's always in the same place. Then it says we need to fetch back the time they've stolen from us. Again, we talked about that. But that's basically the Bandito's mission. not simply escaping Dima, but giving people their lives back.
Mm-hmm.
So then Tyler goes and covers The Climb, except he changes one of the lyrics. And it might have been a mistake. Who knows? But instead of saying there's always going to be another mountain, he sings there's always going to be another battle. And that isn't an accidental change, I don't think.
No, nothing is.
That's Tyler intentionally changing the song to fit because Clancy's story has never really been about reaching the top of a mountain. It's been about continuing to fight. Then comes one of my personal favorite lines from the song. Sometimes I'm going to have to lose. Does that describe Paladin Strait again?
Mm-hmm.
Clancy reaches Nico, but it doesn't feel like a victory at all. Not yet. And that's something we've seen over and over again in stories that Tyler clearly draws inspiration from. Sometimes defeat comes before redemption. Sometimes it seems like you're totally lost, but then there comes the victory because you kept trying. And finally, there's Higher by Creed, which we got the wonderful honor of hearing. And this one almost feels a little bit unfair because, listen to the chorus. Let's make our escape. Okay, escape is pretty on the nose, right? Then he says, can you take me higher? He says, can you take me higher? Someone else is lifting him. Someone else is carrying him upward. He's not carrying himself. He's not saying, can I get higher? He's saying, can you take me higher? And then comes this line, to a place where blind men see. And that immediately made me think about being awake, like we always talk about with them. Citizens finally seeing what Dima really is, finally recognizing the truth. And then, of course, eyes, which are so big to Tyler. Being asleep and being awake is a huge deal. Seeing things, eyes, right? Then they say to a place with golden streets. And I don't know if Creed intended it this way or not. But it's unmistakable Bible imagery.
Their name is Creed, after all.
Right. So in Revelations, the New Jerusalem is described as having streets of gold and a place where suffering is gone and where God's presence is fully realized and where everything is made new. And again, we're not saying Tyler chose a song because it's secretly about the lore. He didn't do that. We're saying that the themes line up really well with the journey of Clancy, the escape, the transformation, the hope beyond captivity, right? So now I just want to zoom all the way out real quick because we just threw a lot of stuff at you. So one song begins with I Wanted to Fly. Another says, let's make our escape. Another asks, can you take me higher? And then another reminds us that every victory comes through another battle.
And you missed one.
I did.
Do you believe in life after love? I can feel something inside me say, I really don't think you're strong enough. No. Right. Do you believe in life after love? And repeats that again.
I didn't do that one specifically because I feel like these other ones, not Stolen Dance, Chance, whatever.
Milky Dance, Stolen Chance, yeah.
The other ones are special covers, which is why I did it because anyway. But yes, I didn't believe on purpose. I didn't forget it.
I'm just saying I think that everything's intentional. I think this is too, and where it falls in the set list. I don't think it's just for the auto-tune. I think those lyrics, and those are the only lyrics he does from the song, completely make sense as well.
Absolutely.
Because if this is the rising up, this will be the afterlife, or all this whole thing is.
Yeah.
And do you believe in life after all of this?
Well, and the Bible says that the ultimate show of love is to lay down your life for your friends.
Right.
So
I think it's intentional. I didn't mean to say you forgot it.
And it does say that God loved us so much, he gave his only son.
Exactly.
Now's the time we get into other connections to this theory that we have had. We dive deep into things that we know are very interesting to Tyler, things that he's been influenced by in the past. The first one we're going to talk about being religion. And again, a disclaimer, we're not saying there's any one religion that's more important than others or that you should follow this one.
Yep.
It just happens to be the one that the boys are they clearly believe in. Okay?
Okay.
But before we go any further, I do want to make one thing really clear because I think it's an important point. We've talked a lot about resurrection imagery, sacrifice, ascension, and all these biblical themes, but I don't actually think Tyler's trying to tell us that Clancy is Jesus. That's not what I'm saying. I've said it before. I think that he is a Christ. And if you didn't know that a Christ is actually a term for people that sacrifice, basically, and that we're called on by God to sacrifice.
Right.
At least he's Christ-like, okay? So throughout the Bible, and honestly throughout literature as a whole, you'll find characters whose lives echo parts of Jesus' story without actually being Jesus. So we think about Joseph. He was betrayed by the people closest to him, suffered because of it, and then ultimately became the one who saved them. Then there's Moses, who led people out of captivity. Isaac willingly carried the wood for his own sacrifice. David was the unlikely king chosen to defeat a giant that nobody else could defeat. None of those people are Jesus, but each one reflects a piece of his story. They're all pointing toward the same pattern. And I wonder if Clancy's doing something similar. Tyler's using one of the oldest stories in history to tell Clancy's story. So think about Clancy's journey. He's just an ordinary citizen. Then he discovers the truth. He willingly chooses to fight for other people instead of only saving himself. He suffers. He appears to lose. And I say appears to lose.
Yeah.
And if our theory is right, that apparent defeat won't actually be the end of the story. Victory comes through sacrifice. And that's a pattern we've seen for thousands of years. So now once we've started looking at it through that lens, something else kind of jumped out at us. And I want to talk about Keons for a minute. Do you remember we kind of already covered this?
Oh no, Il Keons, Il Dima.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that in a while.
Our theory is that he's modeled after John the Baptist. So what was John the Baptist's role? He prepared the way. He wasn't the savior. He wasn't the final answer. His entire purpose was to point people toward the one who was coming after him. He prepared people for what was about to happen. So now I want you to think about actual Keons. For most of the story, we assume he's just another bishop, but then everything changes in Saturday. He's the one who quietly begins helping Clancy. He's the one who sets things in motion, the one who points Clancy towards his purpose, even if Clancy doesn't fully understand it yet. And then he dies before the victory. Just like John the Baptist, he never gets to see the resurrection. Keons never gets to see the ending of the story that he helped begin. So again, We're not saying that Tyler sat down and said, Keons equals John the Baptist.
Mm-hmm.
We're just noticing that the narrative roles are remarkably similar.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's Mr. Torchbearer. I don't know about you, but Torchbearer has always been one of the most mysterious characters in the lore to me. He's there, then he's not there. He's like,
yeah, he wears green.
Really, he's
now
not
he
really.
wears
He's wearing
black.
green. He's
now
wearing
he
black.
speaks
He's
Ukrainian.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
He's never really the center of attention, and he doesn't demand recognition. He doesn't tell Clancy what to do. He just guides him. Sometimes he appears when Clancy needs him the most, and sometimes he comforts him, and sometimes he empowers him, and sometimes he simply reminds him that he's just not alone, and then he disappears again. So he's constantly pointing away from himself and toward Clancy's mission. The more we talked about it, the more it reminded us of how the Holy Spirit is described in Scripture. Not as someone who demands attention for himself, but as a guide. He's a comforter, not like a bedroom comforter, but
not a duvet,
not a blanket.
Yes.
But he's someone who strengthens believers and points them toward the truth. Okay.
Yeah.
So Tyler's always written in layers. We talked about this. Faith is one of them. Lore is the other. And then real life is another one. And they all kind of overlap in these like really cool, interesting ways. And if you've ever heard us do a song analysis, we do it usually in 3 parts. And each one kind of fits those things.
Right.
Okay, so now it's time. We're finally going to step away from the Bible. So if we lost you there, we're done. And we're going to take a look at how some of the same storytelling pattern shows up in some of Tyler's favorite kinds of stories. I'm going to talk about Donnie Darko. So he has said Donnie Darko has been an inspiration to him before. So that's kind of why I got the idea for this. Most people that have seen the movie remember Frank as like this creepy rabbit. That's really all you can think of. But Frank isn't really the point of the story. Frank is the guide. He shows up before Donnie understands what's happening. He doesn't force Donnie to make choices. He simply like leads him to the right path. And then he also reveals pieces of the truth little by little. Ultimately, he's guiding Donnie toward a sacrifice that Donnie himself doesn't fully understand until the very end. And I don't want to spoil things for you if you have not seen this movie, but let's just say the ending involves a cycle and the fear of people forgetting you when you're gone. Does that sound familiar to you? 21 Pilots, anyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, really everyone, but yeah.
Anyway, so Frank is the guide for Donnie, and that's exactly what Torchbearer does. He's not dragging Clancy toward his destiny. He's walking beside him. He's revealing what Clancy needs to know when he needs to know it. He's patient, and suddenly Torchbearer feels less like the side character and more like the compass of the whole story to me. I told you I feel like it's Torchbearer telling the story the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So then my brain jumped to The Lord of the Rings, which Tyler has also said is another of his interests. And one of the main pieces of the story are the eagles, not the band. Actually, one of the jokes is why they didn't just use the eagles to fly the ring. Like, just fly it to the top of the mountain, right?
Yeah, true.
But this isn't a Lord of the Rings podcast, so we're not going to do that. But anyway, Tolkien, who was the author of the Lord of the Rings series, was incredibly intentional with the eagles. They don't show up to prevent the hardship. They don't rescue Frodo before he has to climb Mount Doom. They don't save anyone from making difficult choices. They only arrive after the journey, when it's over, after the suffering and the sacrifice, and it seems like hope is completely lost. The eagles don't erase the cost of the journey. They complete the redemption of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I know we talked about this. They're not eagles, they're vultures. I'm aware of that. But I think vultures were chosen because, yes, they are symbols of death. Eagles are symbols of like heroes and liberty and freedom, right? We think of like,
America.
Yeah, America.
Yeah.
They're strong. They're majestic. Cool animals, right? A vulture, on the other hand, I think is just misunderstood, like I said before. People assume it's ugly, it's dark, and associated with death. But beneath that reputation, the actual purpose is to cleanse and restore and sustain the ecosystem.
Yeah.
That makes it much more fitting symbol for Clancy and even for Tyler himself.
Yep.
Tyler's never portrayed himself as the triumphant, invincible hero like the eagle would be.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, he consistently writes about taking fear and doubt and pain and failure and transforming them into something that gives life to others. And in that sense, the vulture is a much better metaphor than the eagle because it reflects redemption through what others overlook or discard. So maybe that's why Tyler has surrounded this era with birds. Maybe they were never meant to symbolize destruction. Maybe they've always been pointing toward redemption.
Yeah.
So basically, to sum all of this up, we think the cord is an incredibly important piece of the story here. It's a puzzle piece that we might have been overlooking. We think that Clancy's going to be flown out of Dima. We think it's going to be by the vultures, obviously, because the vultures are who are there. But I think we started out to prove that this cord was what was going to attach him to these vultures to get flown out of here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we found many more answers in the process of looking through this theory. So I kind of walked you through the theory of why we believe the story is not over. We've talked about the fact that I do believe we're looking for a third album. I think that's where those threes are coming from. There's a lot of threes in this story. There's a lot of threes in every story. As we said last episode, 3 is a magic number. So I'm looking for another album. I'm looking for the end of the story. All of these things that we have just outlined and much more are why.
Yes, I agree 100% about the third album now. I was not a believer before, but I am now because these guys tell this story through music. They're musicians. So they're not going to write a book. They're not going to make a movie. They're not going to do a interpretive dance. This is going to be portrayed and ended and played out through music. I'm not sure what the album will be called. Maybe it'll be called Paradise.
I think it's going to be called Torchbearer.
Maybe it'll be called Torchbearer, but it will bring the true end to this story they've been telling. And what happens after that, I'm scared to even think about.
I think we're just going to get amazing music where they're not confined to a story.
Yeah. And at that point, I think like they'll continue to tell this story in live shows, hopefully for years to come, but it will be a story that everyone already knows and we can just start enjoying it for other reasons, I think. So there's our bonus episode, you guys. Happy Sunday.
Bonus. Happy Sunday. Hope you have a great week. Only a few more days until the next episode comes out.
I know, right?
So lucky.
What the heck are we going to talk about on that one?
Oh, we've got a lot now.
We have so much to unpack now. So yeah, thanks for tuning in on a Sunday and beyond. Please share with your friends. If you know people that are confused about all this and say, hey, I got an answer for you potentially.
Yeah.
And share it with them. Subscribe, do all the things. And then we will post all these pictures we referenced on social, correct?
Yes.
You're the social person, so I want to make sure.
We referenced too many pictures, just the one, right?
Well, yeah, there's a few.
Okay.
Like we could put pictures of the tethers and the harnesses and the birds and
okay, yeah.
Dante's whatever, you know. But yeah, more to follow because we did fall down some pretty deep holes in this one. And yeah, but for now, that's our theory and we're sticking to it. Hopefully this is the first time you've heard it. I know there's some other people out there that are friends of the show that have theorized adjacent, but I think this is different.
I think so. I haven't heard anyone talk about this. So.
Yeah. So there you have it.
Yeah.
Once again, thank you very much. And we are Clickbait. And so are you.
Stay alive, friends.
Show.